It's time for From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine with Trey Schaap. A golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around, trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Shortgrass is presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. We partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Shortgrass, here's your host, Trey Schaap.
Welcome to another edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I am Trey Schaap. Remember, at UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, they are dedicated to keeping you in the game. From sports injuries to joint replacement, they provide world-class care right here in Arkansas. Call 501-686-TOSH to schedule your appointment today and get back to living pain-free. Coming up on this edition of From the Shortgrass, I sit down with Charlie Golf Company founder Tyler Johnson. If you're listening to this podcast and you have a youngster that is wanting to get into the game of golf and doesn't really have the clubs or a golf bag, you need to listen to this podcast because Tyler Johnson started Charlie Golf Company from scratch, and there's a reason why he did it. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. At Stevens, our philosophy is to invest every dollar as if it were our own, to seize opportunity, to anticipate rather than react, to deliver constant focus in an ever-changing world, and to pursue the objectives of our clients in order to help them reach their financial goals. A proven history of helping companies and individuals. Stevens, member NYSE SIPC.
It's Justin Acree. If you're dealing with back or neck pain, the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health is here to help. Whether it's neurosurgery, orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, or pain management, their experts have you covered with the latest technology and minimally invasive techniques. They're focused on reducing your pain, improving mobility, and getting you back to doing what you love. Call 501-686-TOSH to set up an appointment today. That's 501-686-8674. The doctor will see you now.
Heading to El Dorado to check out some live music or to play Mystic Creek? Stay at the Haywood, the only boutique hotel in the middle of downtown and the Murphy Arts District. If you are spending a weekend in Hot Springs, make plans now at the Marriott Courtyard close to Lake Hamilton and Oaklawn. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group manages both of these fine properties, and you will rest easy knowing that your every need is taken care of. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels on the web at bphotels.com.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I'm your host, Trey Schaap. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group, Matthew Allen and Blair Allen. They know how to manage hotel properties. When you need an overnight place to stay, find them on the web, bphotels.com. Tyler Johnson founded Charlie Golf Company because his son didn't have a golf bag and was just carrying his clubs around without a bag or a place to put his golf balls and tees. So what did he do? He created a golf bag himself and built it into a company, Charlie Golf Company. You might have seen his golf bags at last year's Masters Par 3 contest, and you might see them again this year. On the tee, via Zoom, Tyler Johnson. Tyler, thanks for joining me on From the Shortgrass. So first off, when did you first pick up a golf club?
So I think it goes back to when I was 2 years old. And the only reason I think I know this is because my dad still has our the club from when I was that age still hanging around our house, my parents' house. So it's cool to see that, over the holidays, you go back, it's still sitting there. Our kids play with it every once in a while. Got like a little putting mat, set up down in the basement. So it's still around. He still has it and holds on to it. So that's really the only reason I know that. I picked up that club about 2 years old.
Were you self-taught or did your dad teach you?
So growing up wise, I was self-taught. My dad was a very good player. I mean, he would help me, like on certain things while I was playing, but it wasn't like no lessons, at all. Like when I was growing up, I never had a private lesson. The first lesson I really received was when I joined the University of Northern Iowa men's golf team. That like from the coach, that was really my first lesson that I ever had. My dad would give me like, pointers here and there, about the grip, about the stance, the fundamentals of it. But I just thoroughly enjoyed playing golf and I, learned things as I went along and, it all sort of worked out for me.
So, played college golf. When did you start playing competitively, though? When you really thought, okay, this is something that I really want to try and I want to try to be good at?
I played in some junior tournaments growing up, but nothing like extremely competitive. I would say it was probably like my senior year of high school where I got a little bit more competitive and played in some tournaments like over the summer leading into the my first college season. So like that's really the the most competitive I really got. I never traveled very far, growing up. I was from an extremely small town, 2,500 people in small town Iowa. We had a little 9-hole golf course, and I just got, I was very fortunate for one that the coach up at Northern Iowa, John Bermel, noticed me. And we had some connections up there as well. Like I competed against his nephew, so his brother was our school principal. So it all sort of worked out for me. Like otherwise, I would never have been noticed. Maybe I could have went to a D3, D2 school, but I was given the opportunity to join the team at Northern Iowa, and it really worked out for me. And that's when it got really extremely competitive. And like you really have to put in the time because when you join that team, you're no longer the best, on the team or in the area. It's you're playing and competing against some of the best in the state. So and then throughout the country as well. So that's when it really like clicked for me is, just hey, I got to put in the work for it, got to practice and I was fortunate. I was able to travel and compete in some of those tournaments. Specifically like throughout my junior and senior year, I was traveling pretty much all the time with the team.
What is it like playing golf up in that part of the country where the winters are very, very harsh?
Well, that's a very good question because things have changed a lot since when I played. So I played in 2006 through 2010 is when I played at Northern Iowa, and all we had, like I remember during the winters, there was we went to a gym or to the clubhouse, and you would literally hit into a net, or you would, there'd be putting greens out, like laid out in the clubhouse and we would hit putts and like you could there were some things where you could analyze your stroke a little bit on the putt. You could watch film and like set up old recorders and watch your swing. That like that type of thing back then. It's completely changed now. Like I think now they even have bays outside that you can hit out into the snow, like warmed heated bays. I think they have simulators now. I mean, a lot of college programs all have, simulators, it seems like. So we never had that. It was more or less, hey, let's just keep the swing intact. Let's take a look at a few things of the swing. How's the putting stroke? And then we'd go and play in our first winter tournaments down in like Arizona or wherever we'd go down south to play. And it was sort of cross your fingers. Hopefully we can make good contact with the ball. So, I mean, that's really what it was during the winters, especially.
You are the founder of Charlie Golf Company. Tell me how that came about.
It's a real simple story. Quite frankly, my son, who was about 3 years old at that time, I took him out to the driving range with me one day, and he always had cut down adult clubs from my dad that my dad always cut down for him. So I think it was literally on the day that my dad met Charlie when he was born. Like he came with a cut down putter, old putter with a blue grip on it, and like that was his first golf club. So it was literally like the day that he was born, he had a golf club. And so he had like these cut down golf clubs that we would carry around. Like we'd go out to the course, to the driving range. It was just a way for us to sort of get out of the house. Especially when my daughter was born and she was extremely young at that time. It was just a good way for us to get out of the house and do something. So we would go to the driving range and hit balls and there was just one day, I think it was in July of 2023, where it's like, okay, I need to get a bag for him. I'm sick of carrying these clubs around. I'm sick of all the balls rolling around in the back of the car. I hate when the clubs slide through the basket in the cart, like there was just these things. So I started looking for, golf bags for, let's say, 3 to 5 year olds at the time. And there were, a couple choices out there, but they were what I didn't think were honestly practical for a 3 to 5 year old. Like, I didn't think that they needed two straps. I didn't think that they needed a stand. It needed to be like what in my eyes needed to be something extremely simple. So, I went down a rabbit hole, and that's really the genesis of Charlie Golf is that first golf bag that ended up us designing, and getting manufactured, bringing that thing to life was the start of Charlie Golf. It was that little toddler carry bag that really started the entire thing, and then we transitioned into clubs a few months after we like originally launched.
So that golf bag, describe it to the listener. What is it made of, and what all is involved with that?
Yeah, it's extremely simple. So it's a wax canvas golf bag. Wax canvas material with leather accents is really all it is. There's like a divider along the top. It's 4 inches wide. It's 22 inches high, tall. And there's one strap, one pocket. That's literally it. Like the strap is adjustable. And then yeah, you just got that one pocket, and it's lightweight it's like a little over a pound and a half. So the kid can pick it up right off the ground, set it down on the ground. They don't have to worry about putting the stand down. So like you can see, like there's adult bags out there that are, like the larger style of this. So it's a Sunday style carry bag is what it is for a 2 to 5 year old.
And you have manufactured this out of your garage, is that correct?
No, we work with the manufacturer to manufacture these bags and the clubs, and then they are, shipped on over to us. We store them in the warehouse. The warehouse is our garage. We do all the fulfillment and shipping out of our garage. So that's where we've operated out of, just sort of out of necessity. Because when we first started, it was okay, we buy these 150 bags or whatever it may be, and we'll see what happens with it. And it turned into we need a space, so we just converted our two-stall garage and started loading stuff up in there. Have a whole bunch of family come and help us and get these orders packed up and out the door. And we literally just operated out of the garage. It was a sore subject back in the day when in the Iowa winters, when my wife's car and my car is parked outside in the snow and in the freezing cold. But we managed to get through. We got through 2 winters now. Knock on wood, I think we're through winter now here in Iowa. But yeah, we got through those 2 winters. Okay.
Are there any plans to expand and maybe have a warehouse to where you can actually get your garage back? I'm sure your wife would like that.
Yeah, so there are plans. It's sort of in motion as we speak right now, because yeah, so we are looking at like a 1,500 square foot warehouse facility. Like it's a flex space type warehouse, industrial space is what it is for us, for those warehouse, and to store everything, store inventory, and then to ship and fulfill out of that area as well. But yeah, that is the plan, and we need to have that happen here, over the course of the next 2 months right now, from when this is recorded, because we have junior bags and junior clubs that we're working on right now for the next size child, or next size kid. So that's, the 5 to 8 year old range. And those bags are going to be completely different. Like those are now going to have a stand with, a couple straps, different style straps than what you would typically think. But um, yeah, they take up a lot more room, especially, when you have that stand and those dividers along the top. There's more structure to that bag. So they are a lot larger. And when you bring in, a bunch of them, they're not going to fit in our garage. So we actually need that space now. So that's where we're looking to expand.
And back to the golf bags. I mean, parents can personalize these for their kids if they would like, get their names right on the bag.
We just started that about 3 weeks ago, and it was one of those things that came that it was when I first started the idea. I always wanted to have embroidery on the bags, and we went to a couple embroidery shops like in our town, local embroidery shops, to see if we could outsource that, as far as getting the name embroidered on the bag. And I was told no multiple times by a few different people up here. And when I mean no, it was I took the bag in there. They would look at it. I got about 30 seconds, and it was a quick no, and I was out the door in a minute. Gave me absolutely no time. So I knew it was possible. So at the end of the year, we made the decision to purchase our own embroidery machine to do this. And I went through like testing and working with the company that sold the Tajima machines, the distributor, to make sure that for one, it was possible and like just to make sure that we're getting good use out of our money there. So we brought in that embroidery machine. I think it was toward the end of January, I think is when we received that. We got it set up. We had a technician come out and train us on how to use that machine. And then I don't know when it was, middle to the end of February, we started offering that personalization for those golf bags. So a kid's name or initials or nickname or whatever you want to put on it, like up to 8 characters, are able to be now embroidered on the pocket of the bag.
That's pretty cool. And you also have sets of clubs as well that you sell now. When did you bring on the clubs? Because obviously it started with the bag of the necessity for your son, but when did you start incorporating the clubs with it?
So the club, shortly after I came up with the idea of the bag, and like while the bags were actually being produced, like in the middle of the manufacturing, I started looking at, okay, well, obviously I sort of knew that people aren't going to necessarily have clubs, so I thought the clubs would be a great complement and like go along great with the brand overall. So I want to say I started working on that in about October, November. I had like design ideas in my head, and you start reaching out to manufacturers, and it's just a way longer process than what the bag was. I mean, there's just a lot more moving parts involved with that. So yeah, we would go through that design process and the manufacturing process, and go back from back and forth with samples and different types of things to test the clubs. And then we actually launched those, I think in May. I think it was May of 2024. And we actually opened up a wait list, I think in March of 2024. And that wait list filled up real quick. And we actually started doing a pre-order for it. And I mean, we limited it to, I think, 200 or 300 sets. And they sold out like in a couple days. So at that point, I knew that there was onto something, and that was like an extremely nerve-wracking period for me because I'm taking money from these customers up front, and we're talking 6 to 8 weeks that these clubs aren't going to be in our hands. And you started thinking about some of those things like, gosh, I hope nothing's wrong with the clubs. Like, I hope everything goes good. I hope there's no delays or anything like that. And like the biggest thing with that was just communicating to the customers to let them know how long it's going to be and try to keep them up to date with everything. It all worked out, but I don't know if I'll do that pre-order thing again. When you lay your head down at night, you just sort of think about things that could go potentially wrong. And that sort of kept me up at night, but it all worked out for us. And those clubs have been a huge hit. And designing the irons it was sort of a lot of fun because the irons are the things that I spent the most time on because those are the things that can be seen all the time, sticking out of the club. And I didn't want them to look like any other kids club out there. I didn't want it to be like pink or blue or, Snoopy or whatever they may be. I wanted it to actually look like, mom and dad's clubs and a club that I would personally buy. Me being an avid golfer, like I wanted something that looked good. And then lightweight was the biggest thing. The club head weight needed to be lightweight for that kid to swing. And I had the perfect test subject at the time to see, I was going from these old cut down adult clubs that Charlie was trying to swing to now these clubs that were a lot lighter weight, and to see him easily swing those was sort of a game changer for him and for me. It was a sigh of relief to see him actually be able to swing a club, at 3.5 years old, and try to take some cuts at the ball.
Tyler, I think maybe for you, proud moment with this company and the golf bag, seeing the golf bag in the par 3 contest at Augusta.
Oh yeah, something I'll never. I mean, so when you talk about surreal moments, people always say you have those surreal moments, but like that whole day was sort of like leading up to it. I knew that there was chances that it could get out there. I just didn't know. I knew that the bags were in some people's hands that were going to be playing. I just didn't know if they would actually take them out and use them on the par three tournament. So yeah, seeing that, like watching live from the range, it was the first glimpse that I got of it. Was seeing the bag laying on the ground. I think it was Peter Monalti's son, and it was just a quick glimpse of it, and I caught it. And then shortly thereafter, I started receiving, DMs and messages online saying, I think these are Charlie Golf bags. And sure enough, like they showed up with, the Hadwins and Connors. So the Canadians really supported us well. So it was cool to see them out there. Peter Molnalty had it as well. And there's an awesome picture from like Getty Images that is Peter running down the fairway with his son, and he's carrying that bag, that green bag in his left hand. And that's something that, I have saved and ready to get big picture, when I have more space. And that's something I'll just never forget. And, hopefully this year we can get a few more bags on out there. We'll see what happens with it.
I was going to say, I mean, this year the Masters coming up, and obviously maybe more Charlie Golf bags out there.
There's some good potential. I'll leave it at that. I think there's some good potential. We'll see what happens, and if some end up out there. The other thing that we have to keep our fingers crossed for is good weather. So we need good weather first. And then, I think we have some chances. And again, it's the same thing as last year. It's like I know that they're going to be in some players' hands. Just don't know if they're going to use them, or what will happen. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for it.
And then obviously with the fact that you're moving up because getting into bigger bags with the junior sets and stuff like that, the drive, chip, and putt at Augusta National, that potentially your bag might make it there as well.
I'll tell you one thing, I've never even thought about that. So you are the first to bring it up to me. So now it's going to be on my radar, but I have honestly never really thought about that. But yeah, now I'm going to be looking into that.
Might need to come up with a drive, chip, and putt bag.
Yeah, maybe I might need to do something like that.
Your son, when you look at him and see his future with the game of golf and introducing it to him at a very young age, like you were introduced at a very young age, what do you hope will be the end for him? Do you want him to try to make it as far as he can?
I personally, I could care less about the competitive side of it. I just hope he loves the game. Like I don't like it. If he goes and plays in college, great. I mean, if he enjoys it, that's awesome. But long term, what I envision is I just hope he loves the game and he loves to play, and I can just see. Like I would love to go on, trips with him to places to play golf together. Like that's ultimately what would be awesome. So like I just hope he falls in love with the game like I did at a young age and just enjoys it. And then whatever comes out of it will come out of it. Like if he's good, great. But I could really care less about. The competitive junior scene is something that you know, I never had to do growing up. I just played. I loved the game, and I would spend summers out at the golf course. And that's nice. I had some good friends growing up that loved to play, and that's how I got into the game. And I never got like into the competitive circuits or anything like that. My parents never traveled and took me out of state to do anything like that. Some tournaments here around the area, but that was really about it. So I don't the competitive side of it, I think, sometimes can get stretched pretty far these days for younger children.
Tyler, what are your plans with Charlie Golf Company? How far do you want to take this?
It's a great, I mean, it's a great question. I sometimes have a hard time like having the vision. I have like a little vision of the company, but I get stuck in the day to day a lot of the times. There's times where I think like it would be awesome, like ultimately for this thing to be sustainable, and one day like having either Charlie or my kids be involved in the business would be really cool, or like them have the opportunity to be involved in the business would be extremely cool. But that's 15 years, that could be at least 15 years away. So that's a long, long time away. We gotta lay a lot of the groundwork and the foundation here right now, to see if that's gonna, work out for us. But I just want to be like, in the kid space, because I just think it's so important for parents to get involved with their kids out on the golf course. And, it's just from my experience, playing with my dad and my grandpa, like I have vivid memories of that. And I think golf just teaches you so much growing up in life that, I just think it's a very important sport for children to learn and grow up playing.
If there are parents, moms, dads, grandparents listening to this episode and they want to get in touch, find a golf bag for their youngster, what do they need to do?
Yeah, we have everything online, so everything is on our website, and that's where we do all of our operations is pretty much through the website, and we're starting to get into some wholesale stuff. But as far as mom, dad, grandpa, and grandma just wanting to get a bag for the kid in their life, it's all done through our website at charliegolfco.com.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. We try to keep it easy. We try to keep it as easy as possible.
All right, best golf course you've ever played.
So I'm going back there now for a third time. I think this is going to be our third time in a row. The Prairie Club out in Valentine, Nebraska, literally in the middle of nowhere. The Dunes course. I absolutely love the Dunes course, and this might be raise some controversy, but I played Whistling Straits. I don't know, two summers ago, I played Whistling Straits, and I think later that summer I went out to the Dunes course at the Prairie Club, and so I had a pretty good comparison in relative short term there, and I thoroughly enjoyed the Dunes course like a lot. So when I compare to I'd always say, oh, I have a hot take. I think the Dunes course is better than Whistling Straits. Whistling Straits is very pretty, but like the playing and like the course layout of the Dunes, I absolutely love.
That's awesome. Fantasy foursome, living or deceased, you and three others you would like to play a round of golf with. Who would they be?
Oh, great question. I think let's see. I think the obvious one is Tiger. Just because he had such an influence on my life growing up playing golf, like that was literally the prime time for Tiger. I think people around my age, I'm 36 now, like the kids at that time, like that's how they really got introduced to the game. So I would say Tiger. I will say the other two, I will say Patrick Mahomes. I'm a big Kansas City fan. I know he loves to play golf. And then the other one, just because I'm a Kansas City fan as well, I'm going to say Bobby Witt Jr. We're big fans of the Royals, and my son has his Bobby Witt Jr. Jersey that he always wears around. And I know he likes to play golf as well. So I'll say Bobby Witt, Tiger, and Patrick Mahomes.
That's awesome. Hey, Tyler, thanks so much for your time. I can't thank you enough.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group is the leader in the state in managing hotel properties. From El Dorado to Jonesboro to Fayetteville to Kansas City and back home in Little Rock, you will find a Beechwood Pinnacle managed hotel property. Are you looking for a weekend staycation? Book the Hilton Garden Inn located on Rock Street and enjoy the Agassi 7-rooftop bar with fantastic views of the Little Rock skyline. Open Sunday through Thursday evenings from 4 to 11 and Friday and Saturday from 5 to midnight. Find them on the web at bphotels.com. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group.
Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stephens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stephens, member NYSE, SIPC.
It's Justin Acree. If you're dealing with back or neck pain, the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health is here to help. Whether it's neurosurgery, orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, or pain management, their experts have you covered with the latest technology and minimally invasive techniques. They're focused on reducing your pain, improving mobility, and getting you back to doing what you love. Call 501-686-TOSH to set up an appointment today. That's 501-686-8674. The doctor will see you now.
That's all the time for this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I want to thank Tyler Johnson of Charlie Golf Company for taking time out of his schedule to talk with me over Zoom. I hope you get a chance to check out his website. If you have a youngster that is involved in the game of golf, you might find him a new golf bag, even a small set of clubs. You never know. Remember, when you find your ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more. And I hope to see you soon from the Shortgrass.
You have been listening to From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network in association with Majestic Cubby Productions.